Hello PlayStation fans! Here's our list of the most disappointing sequels to great games on the PS1 and the PS2. Up first, we have Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex. When we picked up the fourth Crash Bandicoot game and the first of the series on the PS2, little did we know that the original developers Naughty Dog were no longer at the helm, and Crash would never be the same. An uninspired sequel that ticks all of the boxes, but brings nothing new to the table at all. After the phenomenal success of the first two games, Twisted Metal 3 was a colossal letdown. Grainy graphics, uninspired level design, and a physics engine that multiple critics described as confusing. The only, and I mean only saving grace, was Rob Zombie's soundtrack. Another game that had a great soundtrack but little else going for it was WIPEOUT Fusion. Whereas people had mixed opinions on its graphics and track design, it was universally accepted that the controls were clunky and awkward. The PS1 WIPEOUT games were sleek and cool, and in comparison, the series debut on the PS2 was a big letdown. The world of Final Fantasy VII was coming to the PlayStation 2, and boy were we excited. However, what we actually ended up getting was a Devil May Cry clone that left both action fans and Final Fantasy VII fans unfulfilled. The game also features some of the worst AI you'll ever see. Talking of Devil May Cry, next we have Devil May Cry 2. For some bizarre reason, the developers decided to drastically lower the difficulty in comparison with the first game. They also oversimplified the combat system and created boss battles that required little to no strategy. Dante also received a change to his personality, with his trademark cockiness considerably toned down. Baffling decisions all round, really. Next up, we have a game criticised for its short length, horrendous controls, lack of originality, long loading times, and a plethora of technical issues. Spyro: Enter the Dragonfly. A title that you can actually finish in under 3 minutes by glitching your way to the final boss seconds after the opening cutscenes. Which, of course, isn't exactly a sign of quality. An action-adventure Mortal Kombat prequel featuring fan-favourite character Sub-Zero. Perhaps this was a good idea on paper, but as a game, it's terrible, with frustrating controls that remind us of early NES titles. Regarded as probably the worst ever Mortal Kombat game, of which there are over 25. The Driver series had pioneered open-world city exploration on the PS1, and many of us were excited to see how the series would play on the PS2. Unfortunately, Driver 3 played like an unfinished, unpolished mess, which was baffling really, considering it had been in development for over 3 years. Terrible AI, glitches galore, and controls that were sluggish and slow. We absolutely loved Die Hard Trilogy. And when a sequel was released 3 years later, we couldn't wait to fire it up. The excitement quickly dies, however, and it becomes apparent that the sequel is worse in every conceivable way. Now, if you have some type of weird fetish for frustrating gameplay, then look no further than the driving stages of Die Hard Trilogy 2, where it genuinely feels like you're driving a car with no tyres on a sheet of ice.
Weird lights, manifestations, that sort of thing. Thought I might...
And in first place, drumroll please, we have Tomb Raider Chronicles. Don't get me wrong, we loved the last revelation, which took Lara back to her roots and ended on a cliffhanger, with Lara seemingly buried alive. How on earth was she going to get out of this one? Well, along came Chronicles, which had absolutely no answers whatsoever. The fatigued development team was sick of Lara at this point, hence killing her off in the last game. But publishers Eidos insisted that the series continue. Most of the team returned from the last game to create Chronicles, which ended up being an uninspired sequel based on concepts cut from the last revelation. Up to this point, the Tomb Raider games had all been solid 10 out of 10s, and to play a game that felt as if it had just been half-assed was a sad end to Lara's legacy on the first PlayStation console. Do you agree with our list? What was your most disappointing sequel from the PS1 or PS2? Let us know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.
For more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to make sure you don't miss any videos in the future. Cheers!